Welcome to Spoon Press Audio, the podcast for your daily story fix with your host, author and award-winning entrepreneur, Anna Emm.
Don't Know Jack, Chapter 15. Four females are standing on the banks of the river, a woman with long grey hair, a slightly shorter, younger woman, and two little girls, one of which is holding a large sketchbook. The other one is dressed in an orange raincoat with the tag still on. All four figures are peering out at the mass of water, looking worried. Then the raincoat girl turns to the girl with the sketchbook and asks, "What if she didn't hear you?" "She heard me," the other girl says. The woman with the grey hair nods. "She's a clever one," she says, and then she adds, more to herself than to the others, "Wonder why we overlooked her." The other woman turns to her and, without making a sound, mouths the question, "And the book? Still nothing?" The grey-haired woman looks down at the book in her hands. She opens it, flips through the pages, and then shakes her head. "All blank," she sighs. "So he still dies today?" the girl with the raincoat asks. The girl with the sketchbook shakes her head. "Charlotte Harding will come and save him. I have the utmost faith in her. I knew her, remember, personally. Lived in the flat upstairs from us. She had a rough life, got involved with the wrong crowd, but her heart is right. Trust me, she's a fighter. She'll come through for us." "And what if she doesn't?" the mute woman mouths. The grey-haired woman sighs. "Then we'll have to go in ourselves and get him out." They all stare at her. "But how?" the mute woman mimes again. "Through the water, of course." "We can't touch him unless he's fully submerged in water," the girl with the raincoat says, her eyes wide. "And by then it may already be too late." "Well then," the grey-haired woman says, "let's hope it doesn't come to that. Let's hope that girl—" She stops when a car drives up behind them, skidding around the corner. They all turn and watch as the car comes to a stop right behind them, the engine still running. There are two people inside, a man with a bald head and a black beard, and a blonde woman. They too now stare out over the river, their eyes searching the surface of the dark water. "Is that her?" the girl with the sketchbook asks, nodding at the blonde woman. "Yes," the other three say in unison. "And the man?" the girl asks. The three heads dip to the side simultaneously like synchronized swimmers. "That's Blake Butcher," the raincoat girl says. "He's new, one of many agents the dark side has out here. Weak humans who can be bribed to meddle, obstruct, harm, and often, sadly, kill." The girl with the sketchbook frowns. She studies the man's face through the window. Then she opens his sketchbook and pages through it. The other three keep looking at the two people in the car, who seem unaware of their onlookers, and also of the fact that, in spite of the thick car windows, their conversation can be clearly heard by the four women on the bank. "Do you see it?" Blake asks. "No, it must have gone under," the blonde companion says. Let's hope so," Blake replies. "We don't want anyone spotting the crate and playing superhero now, do we? We need this to go the right way." "It will," the blonde smiles faintly. "I'm sure it already has." Blake looks at her. "Geez, you're one heartless piece of shit lady, aren't you, sweetheart? Didn't you sleep with him?" She simply shrugs and then shoves her sunglasses over her eyes. Blake grins. "Respect," he says. The raincoat girl rolls her eyes and shakes her head. "We can never understand why these humans are so easily swayed to the dark side. Have they no desire to do what is right, to make things better?" "This is not about them," the woman with the grey hair says. "No," the raincoat girl sighs, "it's not. And sadly, if they keep going at it like this, it never will be." "Look here," the girl with the sketchbook now says, pulling at the raincoat girl's orange sleeve to get her attention. I knew he looked familiar. She turns the sketchbook so the other girl can see. On the page, there is a series of drawings, one of a grocery store, one of a man and a woman arguing, and another showing a shopkeeper carrying a box of apples. Who's that? The raincoat girl asks. She points at the last picture, where the same man who had been arguing with the woman appears to throw an apple across the street at the oncoming traffic. Is that our Jack? Sure is, her friend nods. What is he doing? He's taking out the man on that bike, which, if memory serves me correctly, is the same man that is sitting there in the car right now. Blake. All three females stare at the picture. Then the woman with the grey hair asks, Wait, is that an apple, you said? Yes, it is, the girl with the sketchbook says. Jack threw it at the traffic a few days ago, and then it caused an accident, and Blake was injured. The other three look at each other. Then they slowly smile. What? The girl with the sketchbook asks. If this scene you drew here happened a few days ago, darling, the grey-haired woman says, then it means that when Jack wrote an apple into existence yesterday, there did indeed appear an apple, only not where we expected it to be, not in Jack's present, that is. That doesn't make any sense, the girl says and frowns. How can we explain this, the girl with the raincoat says. You see, if that apple is the apple, the one our Jack wrote into being yesterday, then it can only mean one thing, that Jack Forrester is not just a writer, but also a jumper. Or a writer-jumper, a jumper-writer, whatever. The point is, with his words he can create and recreate not only the present or the future, but the past. No wonder they are so desperate to stop him, the mute woman exclaims silently. This makes it all the more dire that we rescue him, all three of them say in perfect synchronism. Where the poppins is that girl? Charlotte Harding, at the very moment, is in the back of a cab and racing towards the docks. She's left Melanie and Mr. Beducci behind with some lame excuse that she had to go see about a friend, but not before she had quickly copied all the images of Edna Beducci's paintings to her phone. She is now scrolling through them. To the normal eye, they would just be weird and wonderful artworks, but to Charlotte, who has personally lived through the unsettling events of the last couple of days, they now begin to spell out a strange pattern. Her sharp eyes begin to pick up more and more details that were hidden in the paintings, and, like an imaginary finger drawing lines to connect random stars and shape constellations, a story begins to take shape. Charlotte has no idea how she can see this, or how it is possible that these random details even make sense to her, but as if she has suddenly learned a new language, she finds that she can read what is spelled out in Edna's artworks. And Jack Forrester is at the center of it all. Can you please go a little faster? She asks the driver. The four females turn their heads as the black cab comes speeding around the corner. Oh, thank goodness, the woman with the grey hair gasps. Hurry up, dear girl, hurry. See, I told you, the girl with the sketchbook grins. She's special, that one. I knew it the first time I met her. Why else do you think I let her take those photos of my paintings? Yeah, Edna, you're brilliant, the girl in the raincoat says and rolls her eyes. We know. Let's keep our eyes on the prize, ladies, the grey-haired woman reminds them. It's not over yet. They all watch as Charlotte pays the driver and gets out. Her eyes scan the docks and then the murky water of the river. She hesitates and consults her phone. That's it, girl, the girl with the sketchbook mutters. The kayak. Find the kayak. Will you keep quiet for a second? The other girl snaps. When can she go? The mute woman mimes. Not yet, the grey-haired woman says, her gaze pinned to Charlotte. Charlotte lowers the phone and quickly walks over to the water. On the riverbank, she stops and looks to her right. When she spots the 2 containers, she goes over, breaking into a jog. Not yet, the grey-haired woman mutters again. The 4 of them follow Charlotte in a cluster, their feet floating just above the muddy river bank. When they arrive at the containers, Charlotte is already dragging the kayak out. Good girl, the sketchbook girl grins. Now? The mute woman asks, her face strained with suspense. Almost, the grey-haired woman says. Wait for it. We have to wait for... She stops and they all hold their breath, watching as Charlotte pushes the kayak out onto the water and then, one last time, consults her phone. She looks up, peers out over the water and finds the spot. Oh, well done, sweetie, the sketchbook girl whispers. Then she leans forward and says, Ready? Steady? Charlotte gets into the kayak, sits down and grabs the paddle. Wait, the grey-haired woman says. She has to see the... At that moment, Charlotte Harding looks down. Now, the grey-haired woman, the mute one, and the girl in the raincoat exclaims in unison, Go! But the girl with the sketchbook is already gone. What the heck am I doing? What the heck am I doing? What the heck am I doing? Charlotte mutters over and over to herself as she sits down in the unsteady kayak. As she picks up the paddle, the kayak bobs and cold water spills over her sneakers and under her bottom, soaking her jeans. Shit, she says and looks down. The bottom of the kayak is filled with water. She should have thrown it out first. Hello, Charlotte, a voice says, and a familiar face appears next to her own reflection in the puddle of dirty water. Charlotte gets such a fright to see the old woman again, she almost drops the paddle. Mrs. Beducci, she stammers. How? The woman smiles. Plenty of time for hows and who's later, dearie, but first, let's go and get our Jack out of that crate. As the kayak makes its way down the river, 3 figures follow it, hovering just above the dark water. Charlotte is unaware of them. Her gaze is fixed on the spot straight ahead, where she can only just make out a large, square shape bobbing under the surface of the water. But even if she were to look up, she wouldn't have been able to see the figures. Why she's able to see the lingering spirit of Edna Beducci is as much a mystery to her as it is to the other ladies. But she can. Careful, Edna says, peering up from the puddle of dirty water as Charlotte brings the kayak right up to the thing in the water. Geez, Charlotte mutters, lifting herself a little to inspect the wooden crate. There is a thick chain wound around it. Sheer panic takes over. Jack, she cries out as loud as she can. Are you in there? Can you hear me? It's Charlotte. There is a second or two of silence. Everyone holds their breath. Charlotte, Edna, and the 3 figures hovering next to the kayak. And then, muted, they can all hear a familiar voice coming from inside the crate, just below the water. Charlotte, it cries, get me out of here. Oh, thank goodness, the 3 floating females exclaim in unison. He's alive. Charlotte, Jack calls again, his voice soft and far away. It's okay, Jack, I'm here. I'll get you out. Charlotte drops the paddle and leans over the edge of the kayak. She can see where the chain is fastened. It's not locked with a padlock or anything, thank goodness, but it is held together with an iron bolt that is slipped through the links. If she can pull it out, the chain should slip off and fall away, and she would be able to open the crate. Steadying her weight, Charlotte slips her hands into the water and reaches for the bolt. But before she can touch it, her fingers reach a barrier. What is it? Edna whispers, alarmed, as Charlotte gasps. There's something covering it, she says, frowning. She tries again to reach for the bolt, but the crate seems to be covered in some invisible shell, smooth and thick under her fingers, almost rubbery. Oh no, the grey-haired woman whispers. What is it? The mute woman asks, soundlessly but anxious. What is happening? Oh, you silly, silly boy, the grey-haired woman says, shaking her head. What? The other 3, including Edna, now exclaim. The grey-haired woman doesn't answer right away. She stares at the spot where the crate bobs under the water. Then she says, "He sealed it off. We can't get to him. He's locked himself inside."